Hi, welcome everyone. It's a fun idea if you could let us know where you're tuning in from. Appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's relax and kick things off. The phone rings just as I'm finishing a late night report. I almost ignore it, thinking it's another work-related call, but something makes me pick up. It's the hospital. My heart stops. My wife and daughter were in a car accident and they're in the ICU. Without thinking, I drop everything, grab my keys and rush to the car, my mind racing with 100 thoughts, none of them good. The drive to the hospital is a blur. I can't remember how I got there, only that my hands are shaking as I run through the sliding doors. The sterile smell of disinfectant hits me, and I'm suddenly aware of how cold and impersonal everything feels. I ask for their room at the front desk, my voice trembling, and the nurse directs me to the ICU with a look of sympathy that makes my stomach churn. As I ride the elevator, I can't stop thinking about the last few months. My marriage has been on life support, just like they are now. I found out about the affair a few weeks ago. Late night texts, hushed phone calls, all the classic signs. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I thought I could handle it, for our daughter's sake. Now I'm not so sure. The doors slide open, and I'm hit with a wave of nausea. My wife and daughter, my entire world, are lying behind those doors. I'm not sure what I'll find when I walk in. The sight of them, broken and fragile, scares me more than I want to admit. I take a deep breath and push open the door. There they are, hooked up to machines, pale and motionless. My daughter, my little girl, looks so small in that bed. My wife, the woman I've loved and now resent, is barely recognizable. I feel a strange mix of anger and guilt. Anger at her betrayal, guilt that I can't push it aside even now. A doctor approaches and I pull myself together. "How are they?" I ask, my voice barely more than a whisper. "They're stable, but it's touch and go," he says, looking me in the eye. "Your daughter's injuries are severe. We've done all we can for now, but if her condition worsens, we may need a blood transfusion." "Take mine," I say immediately. He hesitates, glancing at the chart. "We've already matched your wife's blood type, but for your daughter, if it comes to that, it would be better if it's from her biological father." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I stare at him, the room spinning. What the hell does he mean, biological father? I feel the floor drop out from under me as the implication sinks in. My world, already hanging by a thread, unravels completely. I look at my wife, hoping, praying this is some sick mistake. But deep down, I know it's not. Everything I thought I knew is a lie. I brace myself, knowing this is just the beginning. The doctor's words echo in my mind, a cruel reminder of everything I thought I knew. It would be better if it's from her biological father. Those words won't stop repeating. I can't process what he's saying. My daughter, my little girl, might not be mine. It's impossible. I don't want to believe it, but the doubt is there, gnawing at the edges of my sanity. I stand there, numb, staring at the sterile white walls of the ICU. My wife lies in the bed beside our daughter, her face pale, her body still. I feel a surge of anger. How could she do this to me? To us? But anger is useless right now. I need answers. I force myself to walk toward my wife. She looks so fragile, but I can't afford to be gentle. I lean down, close to her ear, my voice a harsh whisper. "Who is he?" Her eyelids flutter and she moans softly, as if the sound of my voice pulls her from the depths of unconsciousness. But she doesn't respond. I grip the edge of the bed, my knuckles white. "Who is he, damn it?" "Who's her father?" Her eyes open slowly, unfocused at first, then locking onto mine. There's fear in them and something else. Guilt. I can't stand it. I need her to say it, to admit what she's done. But she turns her head away, a single tear slipping down her cheek. It's all the answer I need. I feel like I'm drowning, the room spinning as I struggle to keep control. I should be focused on my daughter, on getting her the help she needs, but all I can think about is the betrayal. I want to scream, to shake her until she gives me a name, but I know I won't get anything out of her now. Not like this. The doctor's voice pulls me back. Mr. Lawson, we need to discuss your daughter's treatment. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to focus. What do we do next? We'll monitor her closely, but if she needs a transfusion, we'll have to confirm paternity. We'll need to know for certain. Paternity. The word slices through me like a knife. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. The doctor gives me a sympathetic look before walking away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I don't leave the hospital that night. I can't. I sit by my daughter's bed, watching her chest rise and fall with the rhythm of the ventilator. She's my world, has been since the day she was born. How could she not be mine? The thought is unbearable. I need to know the truth, but I'm terrified of what I might find. I spend hours going over everything in my mind. The late nights, the unexplained absences, the phone calls she took in another room. All the signs were there, and I ignored them. I wanted to believe in our family, in the life we'd built together. But now it's all crashing down, and I'm left to pick up the pieces. Morning comes, and I'm no closer to answers. I decide to confront her again, this time determined to get the truth. When I enter her room, she's awake, staring blankly at the ceiling. I approach slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. You need to tell me who he is. She turns to me, eyes bloodshot and full of sorrow. Please, not now. Now, Rachel, I need to know. For her. She looks at our daughter, her lip trembling. I'm sorry, she whispers. I didn't want it to be like this. Who is he? My voice is hard, unforgiving. She swallows, her hand trembling as she reaches for mine, but I pull away. I can't let her touch me, not after what she's done. She sighs, defeated. It was a mistake. I never wanted to hurt you. Who is he? She closes her eyes, tears streaming down her face. I don't know, she finally admits, her voice barely audible. There were a few. A few. The words hit me like a hammer. I feel the bile rise in my throat, but I swallow it down, refusing to give in to the nausea. You don't know who her father is? She shakes her head, and I'm overcome with a wave of disgust. How could she be so reckless, so careless with our lives? I want to yell, to scream at her for what she's done, but there's no point. She's broken, and nothing I say will change that. I leave the room, unable to look at her any longer. I need space, air, anything to escape the suffocating weight of her confession. I wander the hospital halls, my mind in a daze. I can't stay here. I need to do something, take action, but I don't know where to start. That's when it hits me. A private investigator. I'll hire someone to dig into her past, find out who she's been with, and confirm who the father is. It's the only way to get the answers I need, the only way to save my daughter. I make the call, my voice shaking as I explain the situation. The investigator is professional, assuring me he'll get to work immediately. He asks for names, dates, anything that could help. I give him everything I know, every detail I can remember. It's not much, but it's all I have. As I hang up the phone, I feel a strange sense of relief. At least now I'm doing something. I'm taking control of the situation, even if it's only a small step. But the relief is short-lived. There's still so much uncertainty, so much that could go wrong. Days pass in a blur of hospital visits and sleepless nights. I watch my daughter's condition closely, praying it doesn't worsen. Every time a nurse enters the room, my heart stops, fearing the worst. But for now, she's stable, and that's all I can ask for. The investigator calls with updates, each one adding another layer of complexity to an already twisted situation. He uncovers a list of names men Rachel had been with during our marriage. The list is longer than I expected, each name a new dagger to the heart. Some I know, others are strangers, but they all represent the same thing: betrayal. The worst part is realizing how deep the deception goes. She didn't just cheat on me once. This was a pattern, a web of lies that I was too blind to see. The investigator tells me he's narrowing down the potential fathers, but it's a slow process. There are paternity tests, interviews, background checks. It's going to take time. time we might not have. One night as I sit by my daughter's bed, I think about the trial. Not a legal trial, but the one that's coming for me. The trial of my marriage, of my faith in the people I love. I realize that no matter what the outcome, nothing will ever be the same. Even if I find out I'm her father, the damage is done. My trust in Rachel is shattered beyond repair. I try to prepare myself for the worst, but how do you brace yourself for the possibility that your entire life has been a lie? I think about leaving her, starting over, but the thought of being without my daughter is unbearable. She's my anchor, the only thing keeping me grounded in this storm. The investigator finally calls with a breakthrough. He's found a man who's willing to take a paternity test, a man who Rachel had been seeing around the time our daughter was conceived. The thought of another man possibly being her father fills me with rage, but I swallow it down. This is what needs to be done. I meet with the investigator going over the details. The man is someone I've met before, a colleague of Rachel's. The realization stings, knowing he's been in our home, around our family. But I keep my focus. I need to know the truth. The test is scheduled, and I'm left in a state of nervous anticipation. Every day that passes feels like an eternity, the uncertainty eating away at me. I visit my daughter, talk to the doctors, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm on the verge of losing everything. Finally, the day comes. The test results are in. I stand in the hospital parking lot, my hands trembling as I open the envelope. The words blur before my eyes, but the result is clear. Negative. He's not the father. I don't know whether to feel relief or despair. The answer I needed is still out there, but so is the uncertainty. The clock is ticking, and I'm running out of time. My daughter's life hangs in the balance, and so does mine. I return to the hospital, my mind a whirl of emotions. Rachel is awake when I enter the room, her eyes filled with questions. I don't say anything, just hand her the envelope. She opens it, her face crumpling as she reads the result. "I'm sorry," she whispers, tears spilling over. "I never wanted this. I never wanted to hurt you, but the damage is done." I stare at her, wondering how we got here, how the woman I loved could have betrayed me so completely. I don't have the answers, and maybe I never will. All I know is that I need to keep going, for my daughter, for myself. The truth is out there, and I'll do whatever it takes to find it. I hire the private investigator the same day the paternity test results come back negative. I don't know who to trust anymore, and I need answers. My mind is a tangled mess of confusion, anger, and despair. Every time I look at my daughter, my heart aches. She's lying there fragile and helpless, and I'm supposed to be her father, her protector. But now I'm not even sure who I am to her. The investigator is professional, no nonsense. His name is Victor, and he's been in the business for years dealing with cases like mine. Infidelity, betrayal, lies. He doesn't ask unnecessary questions, just gets straight to the point. I give him everything I know about Rachel's affairs, every detail I can recall. It's humiliating, but I force myself to go through it. I have to do this for my daughter. Victor starts digging immediately, and I try to focus on my daughter's recovery. I visit her every day, sit by her side, hold her hand, talk to her, even though she's still unconscious. I tell her stories from when she was little, the way she used to laugh at the silliest things, the way she'd run into my arms after school. But every word feels like a lie now. I don't even know if I have the right to call her mine. As the days pass, Victor's updates come in sporadically, each one adding a new layer of darkness to the situation. He uncovers more than I was prepared for. Rachel wasn't just unfaithful once or twice. She had multiple affairs, sometimes overlapping. The men she was with, they're a mix of acquaintances, colleagues, strangers. It's a nightmare I can't wake up from. I'm numb most of the time, just going through the motions. I visit the hospital, talk to the doctors, but my mind is elsewhere, caught in the web of Rachel's deceit. The tension is unbearable, and I feel like I'm being slowly suffocated. I can't keep this up much longer, but I don't have a choice. My daughter needs me, and I have to find out the truth, no matter how much it hurts. Then Victor drops the bombshell. One of the names on the list is someone I never expected. A close friend. Someone I've known for years. The moment I hear it, something inside me snaps. I feel betrayed on a level I can't even comprehend. This isn't just about Rachel anymore. It's about the people I trusted, the people I let into my life. I confront him that same night. I don't give a damn about being calm or rational. I drive to his house, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, rage boiling inside me. When he opens the door, I see the guilt in his eyes before he even says a word. He knows why I'm here. Is it true? My voice is barely controlled, shaking with fury. He tries to deny it at first, but I'm not in the mood for games. I push him back into the house, slamming the door behind us. Don't lie to me. Not now. He stumbles, and I see the fear in his face. Good. He should be scared. He finally admits it. Yes, he slept with Rachel. Yes, he could be the father. He tries to apologize, to explain, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want his excuses, his pathetic attempts to justify what he did. I lose it. My fist connects with his jaw before I even realize what I'm doing. The impact sends him crashing into the wall, and I feel a sick sense of satisfaction watching him crumble to the floor. But it's not enough. I want to hurt him, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain I'm feeling. We end up in a brawl, fists flying, furniture toppling. It's messy, brutal, fueled by all the rage and frustration I've been holding in. He tries to fight back, but he's no match for the fury driving me. I don't care about the consequences. I just want to make him pay. Eventually, the fight spills out into the street, attracting attention. Neighbors come out, someone calls the cops, and before I know it, we're both in handcuffs, sitting in the back of a patrol car. The reality of what I've done starts to sink in, but I'm too exhausted, too drained to care. At the station, they separate us, questioning me about what happened. I don't say much, just that he betrayed me in the worst way possible. I'm not proud of what I did, but I don't regret it either. Maybe it's the only way I could have gotten some of the anger out, but it didn't change anything. My daughter's still in the hospital, and I still don't know the truth. They let me go with a warning after a few hours. Apparently, my friend isn't pressing charges. Maybe he knows he deserves it. I don't even look at him as I leave. I don't want anything to do with him ever again. All I can think about is getting back to the hospital, back to my daughter. But when I get there, I'm faced with another challenge. Her condition is worsening. The doctors tell me she might need the transfusion soon, and we still don't have a match. I feel the walls closing in on me. Time is running out, and I'm no closer to finding out who her father is. I sit by her bed, holding her hand, watching the machines that keep her alive. I think about everything I've been through, everything I've learned, the lies, the betrayal, the pain. It's all too much. And now I'm faced with the ultimate dilemma. Do I tell her the truth if she wakes up? Do I let her believe that I'm her father, even if I'm not? I can't decide. I don't want to decide. I just want her to get better, to open her eyes, to smile at me like she used to. But I know things will never be that simple again. The truth is out there, and it's only a matter of time before it comes crashing down on all of us. I think about confronting Rachel again, demanding that she tells me who the father is. But I'm not sure I can handle another revelation. What if it's someone else I know, someone else I trusted? What if the truth is even worse than I imagined? I don't know if I have the strength to face it. As the days drag on, the tension builds. The hospital staff gives me pitying looks, but they don't understand what I'm going through. No one does. I feel like I'm living in a nightmare, trapped in a situation with no way out. My mind races with scenarios, with possibilities, each one more terrifying than the last. And then one day I get another call from Victor. He's found someone else, another potential father. But this time it's different. This time it's someone who doesn't want to be found. The man in question disappeared years ago, left the country under suspicious circumstances. He's a ghost, a shadow from Rachel's past that she never mentioned. The implications are terrifying. If this man is the father, it means Rachel's been hiding something even darker than I thought. It means my daughter might be the child of a criminal, someone dangerous, someone who could come back into our lives at any moment. Victor is tracking him down, but it's slow going. The man covered his tracks well, and it's going to take time. Time I might not have. Every day that passes feels like a countdown, a ticking clock leading to some inevitable disaster. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like I'm drowning, and no matter how hard I try, I can't break the surface. My daughter is slipping away, and I'm powerless to stop it. I'm supposed to protect her, to keep her safe, but all I've done is fail her. I sit by her bed day after day, night after night, waiting for something to change, waiting for a miracle, for the truth, for anything that can give me some semblance of control. But nothing comes. Only silence, only the slow, steady beeping of the machines that keep her alive. And in that silence, I start to realize that no matter what happens, no matter who her father is, I have to be there for her. I have to be the one she can count on, the one who loves her unconditionally. Because in the end, that's all that matters. But as I make that promise to myself, I know deep down that the truth will come out. And when it does, it will destroy whatever fragile piece I've managed to hold on to. I just hope I'm strong enough to face it when it does. The moment I step out of the police station, the abandoned warehouse looms before me, a dark silhouette against the dim evening sky. The place is as desolate as I expected, its rusted metal walls covered in graffiti, the windows shattered long ago. I park a block away, my heart pounding in my chest. This is it, the final confrontation. I'm nervous, but I know I can't turn back now. My daughter's life depends on what happens next. I glance at my phone one last time before stepping out of the car. Victor sent me the address, and he's on standby if things go south. But this is something I need to do alone. I don't want anyone else involved if it goes bad. I steel myself, forcing down the fear, and make my way to the entrance. The heavy metal door creaks as I push it open, the sound echoing through the empty space inside. The air is stale, thick with the scent of mildew and rust. My footsteps are the only noise as I walk deeper into the building, my eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. I know he's here. I can feel it. Then I see him, standing in the middle of the large empty room. Greg. He's taller than I remembered, his figure outlined by the faint light seeping in from the broken windows. He's facing me, a cold, calculating expression on his face. There's no fear in his eyes, only a smug confidence that makes my blood boil. "So you found me," he says, his voice calm, almost bored. "I figured you would." I stop a few feet away from him, my fists clenched at my sides. "I didn't come here to talk," I say through gritted teeth. "You know why I'm here." He smirks, taking a step closer. "Of course I do. You want answers. You want to know if your precious daughter is really yours." The way he says it, so casually, makes me want to lunge at him, but I force myself to stay calm. I need to keep control. "You're going to take the test," I say, my voice steady despite the anger simmering underneath. "You're going to help my daughter." He laughs, a low, menacing sound that sends a chill down my spine. "And why would I do that?" "What's in it for me?" "You get to stay out of prison," I reply, meeting his gaze head on. "Victor has enough on you to make sure you rot in a cell for the rest of your life. But if you help me, I'll make sure it all disappears." Greg's smile fades, replaced by a calculating look. I can see him weighing his options, considering the risks. For a moment, I think he might agree, but then he shakes his head. "Nice try, but I'm not interested in cutting deals." "Then what do you want?" I demand, my patience wearing thin. "Money? Revenge?" "What?" He steps closer, his eyes narrowing. "I want you to suffer. I want you to feel what it's like to lose everything, to watch as your life falls apart piece by piece." The venom in his words catches me off guard. This isn't just about Rachel. This is personal. "What the hell did I ever do to you?" I ask, my voice rising with frustration. "You took her from me," he snarls, his calm facade cracking. "She was mine before she was yours. We were together, and she left me for you. I lost everything because of you." His words hit me like a punch to the gut. This isn't just about a random affair. This is something much deeper, much more twisted. I try to wrap my head around it, but the pieces don't fit. She chose me, I say slowly, realizing it as I speak. She chose me over you. Greg's face contorts with rage, and for a moment, I think he's going to attack me. But instead, he pulls back, his expression hardening. It doesn't matter now, he says coldly. She's ruined both of us. But you're the one who's going to pay. Before I can react, he lunges at me, a flash of metal in his hand. I barely have time to dodge as the blade slices through the air, narrowly missing my side. Instinct takes over, and I grab his arm, twisting it behind him. The knife clatters to the ground and I shove him back, my heart racing. But Greg is relentless. He comes at me again, his fists swinging wildly. We grapple, crashing into the rusted machinery scattered around the warehouse. It's a brutal, messy fight. No rules, no holding back. I take a few hits, but the adrenaline pushes me forward. I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting for my daughter. Finally, I manage to get the upper hand. I slam him against the wall, pinning him there with all my strength. You're going to take that test, I growl, my voice barely more than a whisper. And you're going to do it now. He struggles, but I press harder, not giving him an inch. Do you hear me? I shout, my voice echoing through the empty space. You're going to save her, or I swear to God, I'll end you right here. There's a moment of silence, and then Greg finally stops struggling. He slumps against the wall, breathing heavily, his eyes filled with a mix of hatred and resignation. Fine, he spits, his voice dripping with contempt. I'll take the damn test, but this isn't over. I release him, stepping back, my own breath coming in ragged gasps. I don't respond. I don't need to. The test is all that matters now. I don't care about his threats, his vendetta. None of it means anything compared to my daughter's life. Victor arrives with the test kit, and I watch as Greg submits to the swab, the anger in his eyes burning bright. I don't care. I'll deal with the fallout later. Right now, I just need to get back to the hospital to get the results as soon as possible. Time is running out. The drive back to the hospital is a blur. I'm exhausted, my body aching from the fight, but I can't rest. Not yet. Not until I know the truth. I keep replaying the confrontation in my mind, trying to make sense of everything Greg said. But there's no sense to be found, only more questions, more uncertainty. When I finally arrive, the doctors are waiting. They take the sample, promising to rush the results. I watch them go, the tension in my chest almost unbearable. This is it, the moment of truth. I sit in the waiting room, my mind racing with every possible outcome. What if Greg is the father? What if he's not? What happens then? Hours pass, each minute feeling like an eternity. I try to distract myself, but nothing works. All I can think about is my daughter, lying in that hospital bed, her life hanging by a thread. I feel helpless, powerless to do anything but wait. Then finally the doctor returns, the envelope in his hand. My heart stops as he approaches, his expression unreadable. He hands me the envelope and I stare at it, my hands shaking. This is it, the moment I've been dreading. I tear it open, my eyes scanning the page. The words blur together, but then I see it. Greg's not the father. The relief is overwhelming, but it's mixed with confusion. If he's not the father, then who is? The question lingers, but I push it aside. I can't deal with that right now. My daughter's all that matters. I hand the results to the doctor, who nods, his expression grave. We'll do everything we can, he says, and I know he means it. But there's still no guarantee. We're running out of time. The next few days are a whirlwind. The doctors work around the clock, and I'm by my daughter's side every moment. She's still unconscious, but I talk to her. Tell her how much I love her, how much I need her to fight. It's all I can do. Then one evening, as I'm sitting by her bed, her hand in mine, I feel her fingers twitch. I look up, my heart skipping a beat, and see her eyelids flutter. She's waking up. Relief floods through me, and I lean closer, whispering her name. It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here. I'm right here. Her eyes open, and she looks at me, confusion in her gaze. Dad? Her voice is weak, barely more than a whisper. Yes, it's me, I say, my voice choking with emotion. I'm here, honey. You're going to be okay. She blinks, trying to focus, and I see the fear in her eyes. What happened? She asks, her voice trembling. It's a long story, I say, squeezing her hand. But you're safe now. That's all that matters. Tears fill my eyes as I watch her slowly come back to herself. She's weak, but she's alive. That's more than I could have hoped for. I know we're not out of the woods yet. There's still so much we need to talk about. So much I need to explain. But for now, I'm just grateful to have her back. The days that follow are difficult. As she recovers, we have the conversations I've been dreading. I tell her everything. The day has finally come, and I'm standing outside the door of the hospital room, knowing that what I'm about to do will change everything. My mind is a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, relief. But most of all, I feel a grim sense of determination. I've made my decision, and there's no turning back. I need to confront Rachel one last time and end this chapter of our lives. I push open the door, and there she is, sitting up in bed, looking fragile and exhausted. The past few weeks have taken a toll on her, and I can see it in her pale face and sunken eyes. She looks up as I enter, and for a moment, there's a flicker of hope in her gaze. But I can't allow myself to be swayed by that. Not now. Rachel, I say, my voice steady, but with a hint of the emotion I'm struggling to keep in check. We need to talk. She nods, her hands trembling slightly as she motions for me to sit down. I don't. I stand by the door, needing the distance between us to maintain my resolve. I know you're sorry, I begin, cutting off whatever she was about to say. But sorry isn't enough. We've gone too far, and there's no going back. I need to move forward, and I need to do it without you. Her eyes widen, filling with tears. Please don't do this. We can work through this. We can be a family again. I shake my head, the words bitter on my tongue. There's no family left to save, Rachel. You destroyed that the moment you chose to betray me, to betray us. And I can't keep living in this lie. She breaks down, sobbing uncontrollably, and it takes everything in me to stay composed. The love I once had for her is buried deep under the layers of pain and betrayal, but it's still there, faint and distant. But that love isn't enough to heal the wounds she's inflicted. I'm filing for divorce, I say, the finality of the words hanging in the air like a death sentence. I'll make sure you're taken care of, and we'll figure out a way to co-parent. But we're done, Rachel. It's over, she looks up at me, desperation etched across her face. What about our daughter? What about her? She needs us, both of us. Our daughter needs stability, I reply, my voice firm. She needs honesty. I'll always be there for her, but I can't be with you anymore. I won't. The room falls silent except for her quiet sobs. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, but at the same time, there's a deep, hollow ache inside me. This isn't how I imagined my life turning out, but it's the only way forward. I turn to leave, but she calls out to me, her voice filled with a plea I can't ignore. Wait, please, just one more thing. I stop, not turning around. What is it? I need you to know I never stopped loving you. Even through all of this, I still love you. I close my eyes, taking a deep breath. Her words cut through me, but they don't change anything. Goodbye, Rachel, I say softly and walk out the door, not looking back. The walk to the car is a blur. My mind is racing with everything that just happened, but there's no time to dwell on it. I have to get back to my daughter, to focus on her recovery, on rebuilding our lives. As I drive away from the hospital, I feel a strange sense of peace settle over me, like I'm finally on the right path. The days that follow are difficult, but there's a sense of clarity that I haven't felt in a long time. I file the divorce papers, and Rachel doesn't fight it. She knows it's the end, and for once, she doesn't try to resist. We agree on shared custody, and I make sure she's financially secure. But emotionally, I've already moved on. My daughter and I start to rebuild our lives one day at a time. It's not easy. There are days when the pain and the memories threaten to overwhelm me. But I've made a promise to myself and to her that we'll get through this together. And slowly, we start to find a new normal. We move into a smaller house closer to her school, and I take some time off work to focus on being there for her. She's resilient, stronger than I ever imagined, and I can see her slowly coming back to life. We talk about everything, about the lies, the betrayal, the future. I don't hide anything from her, and she appreciates that honesty. One night, as we're sitting on the couch watching a movie, she turns to me, her eyes bright with curiosity. Dad, do you think you'll ever love someone else again? The question catches me off guard, and I'm not sure how to answer. I don't know, I say honestly. Right now, I'm just focused on you. But maybe someday, when the time is right, she nods, satisfied with my answer, and snuggles closer to me. I wrap my arm around her, feeling a warmth in my chest that I haven't felt in a long time. This is what matters. This connection, this bond. The rest will fall into place when it's meant to. The divorce is finalized a few months later. It's a quiet, understated affair. No drama, no arguments. Just two people letting go of what was and accepting what is. I feel a mixture of relief and sadness as I sign the papers, but I know it's the right thing to do. It's time to move forward. As the months pass, I start to notice changes in myself. I'm more patient, more present in my daughter's life. I find joy in the small things, taking her to school, helping her with homework, cooking dinner together. These moments are what keep me grounded, what keep me moving forward. But there are still scars, deep ones that haven't fully healed. I find myself waking up in the middle of the night, the memories of Rachel and everything that happened haunting my dreams. It's like a ghost that refuses to leave, a constant reminder of the pain I've endured. One evening, I'm sitting alone on the porch, a glass of whiskey in my hand, when I realize something important. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. I need to let go of the hatred I've been carrying, not for Rachel's sake, but for my own. The next time I see Rachel, I'm calm. She's picking up our daughter for the weekend, and we exchange polite conversation. She looks better, more at peace, and I can tell she's trying to move on as well. As she's about to leave, I stop her. Rachel, I forgive you. She looks at me surprised and then nods slowly. Thank you, she says, her voice thick with emotion. That means more than you know. I watch her drive away, and for the first time, I feel like I can truly breathe again. The weight I've been carrying for so long is finally lifting. It's not gone, but it's lighter, more manageable. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Life doesn't go back to normal. It becomes something different, something new. I focus on being the best father I can be, and in the process, I start to rediscover parts of myself that I thought were lost forever. The man I was before all of this happened, and the man I've become because of it. There's a quiet strength in that realization, a sense of purpose that I haven't felt in years. I'm not just surviving anymore, I'm living. And I know that whatever comes next, I'll face it head on, with the same determination that got me through the darkest days. The scars will always be there, a reminder of the battles I've fought, but they don't define me. They're just a part of my story, one chapter in a book that's far from finished. And as I stand on the porch, watching the sunset, I feel a sense of peace that I haven't known in a long time. I'm ready for whatever comes next. I stand by the window, watching the rain drizzle down the glass, blurring the city lights. The hospital is quiet tonight, a stark contrast to the turmoil that's been raging inside me for weeks. My daughter is asleep in the bed behind me, her breathing steady and peaceful. I feel a wave of gratitude wash over me. She's recovering, getting stronger every day. The doctors are optimistic, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I can breathe a little easier. But the peace I've found is fragile, balanced on the edge of the chaos that brought me here. I think back on everything that's happened, the lies, the betrayal, the confrontations. It's like looking at someone else's life, a story so twisted and painful that it hardly seems real. But it is real. Every moment of it. I've learned a lot about myself in the process. I've discovered a strength I didn't know I had, a resilience that's kept me going even when I wanted to give up. But more than that, I've learned what it means to truly love someone. To put their needs above your own, even when it hurts. My daughter is my anchor, the one constant in a world that's been turned upside down. As I stand there lost in thought, I hear a soft knock on the door. I turn to see the nurse poking her head in, a warm smile on her face. "Mr. Lawson, there's someone here to see you." I'm surprised visiting hours are long over, but before I can respond, the door opens wider, and in walks Claire, a close friend who's been a quiet support through all of this. She's the last person I expected to see, but the sight of her brings a strange comfort. "Claire," I say, stepping toward her, "what are you doing here?" She shrugs, her smile soft but genuine. "I wanted to check on you, on both of you." I nod, grateful for her concern. "She's doing better," I say, glancing back at my daughter. "The doctors think she'll make a full recovery." "That's good news," Claire says, her eyes reflecting the relief I feel. We stand there for a moment, the silence between us comfortable. I realize how much I've come to rely on her over the past few weeks, her quiet presence, her steady support. She's been there when I needed someone to talk to, someone who wasn't entangled in the mess of my life. As we talk, I find myself opening up to her in a way I haven't with anyone else. I tell her about the divorce, about the final confrontation with Rachel. I tell her about the guilt I still carry, the doubts that linger even now. I feel like I'm starting over, I admit, my voice low, but I'm not sure where to begin. Claire reaches out, placing a hand on my arm. "You've already begun, Jack. You've made it through the worst of it. Now it's about taking things one day at a time, and you don't have to do it alone." Her words resonate with me, and I realize she's right. I've been so focused on getting through each crisis that I haven't thought about what comes next, about the life I want to build, not just for my daughter, but for myself. "Thank you," I say, meeting her gaze. "For everything." Claire smiles again, and there's something different in her eyes this time, something warmer, more personal. "You don't have to thank me, Jack. I'm just glad I could be here for you." As she leaves, I feel a strange sense of hope, a feeling I haven't allowed myself to embrace in a long time. Maybe, just maybe, there's a future out there for me that isn't defined by the pain of the past, a future where I can find happiness again. The next morning, I'm standing by my daughter's bed, helping her pack up the few things she's accumulated during her hospital stay. The doctors have cleared her to go home, and she's practically bouncing with excitement. "Are you ready to get out of here?" I ask, smiling down at her. "More than ready," she says, grinning. "I'm sick of hospital food." I chuckle, ruffling her hair. "Let's get you home then." As we step out of the hospital into the fresh morning air, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. The sun is shining, the sky a clear, brilliant blue. Nothing like the storm clouds that have been hanging over me for so long. We drive home in comfortable silence, my daughter's hand resting in mine as I navigate the familiar streets. The future is still uncertain, but for the first time I feel like I'm in control of it. I'm not just reacting to what life throws at me, I'm making choices, shaping the path ahead. When we pull into the driveway, I help her out of the car and up the steps to our front door. As I unlock it, she looks up at me, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Dad, do you think we'll be okay?" Her question is simple, but it carries the weight of everything we've been through. I look down at her, seeing the strength she's shown, the resilience that's carried us both through the darkest times. And I know the answer deep in my heart. "Yes," I say, smiling. "I think we'll be just fine." We step inside and the house feels different, lighter, more open, like a new beginning. As I watch her run off to her room, laughing, I feel a warmth spread through me. This is our home, our life, and we're going to make it work. Later that night, after she's gone to bed, I sit on the porch, a cup of coffee in hand. The stars are out, twinkling against the deep black sky. I think about everything that's happened, everything I've learned. The pain is still there, but it's softened by time, by the realization that I've survived. We've survived. There's a quiet peace in knowing that I've done the best I can, that I've made the choices I needed to make. And as I sit there, I let myself imagine the future, a future where we're happy, where we built something new, something stronger than before. Claire's words echo in my mind, and I smile to myself. I don't have to do this alone. Maybe there's room in my life for new connections, new beginnings. The thought doesn't scare me like it used to. It feels right, like the next step in a journey that's just beginning. As the night deepens, I finish my coffee and head inside, closing the door behind me. My daughter is safe, asleep in her bed, and I know that whatever comes next, we'll face it together. The past is a part of us, but it doesn't define us. We're moving forward, one day at a time, and as I turn out the lights and climb into bed, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Hope. The road ahead might not be easy, but it's ours to walk. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I'm ready to take that step, to see where it leads. The journey isn't over, but I'm not afraid anymore. We're going to be okay. I close my eyes, and for the first time in months, I fall asleep with a smile on my face.